So many people just wander through life on autopilot, not even thinking about what's going on or what they're doing. And it's so important to be conscious of what's right in front of them.
Alan, what do you think people can do in their lives so that they do pay attention and sort of focus on their life rather than just meander through it and let things come their way?
Yeah, I think it's very important to have the opportunity to reflect, to pay attention to not only what's next, but what led to what's now and what's next. Mm-hmm. And some people, many of us, don't have that luxury. We're either not conditioned or given that growing up because we have parents who are so busy just trying to make what's next happen.
Right.
And I know that for myself personally. At 57 years old, in the last 5 or 7 years of my life, developed an awareness of pausing and reflecting, mm-hmm. and like for example, having a gratitude journal. Right, like where every night you sit down, you write. It's an app actually where you sit down and you say, "Hey, this is what I'm grateful for today." Mm-hmm. And when you do it for like over a period of months, at first it might be like this great thing or that, and then sometimes you're not really sure, and you have to really stop and think, mm-hmm. and reflect. And so, doing that has helped me personally start to notice that there are a lot of things that I should pay attention to, mm-hmm. It's going to give me an advantage, right? So if I pay attention to, like, for example, how the food that I eat affects my body, right?
Great
like,
point. Mm-hmm.
It's like in the past, I might I'm gonna eat this. It's based on like what's available or what I desire.
Just put calories in.
Exactly, right? But then I'm gonna say, no, you know what? I noticed that when I, for example, drink a lot of water, my joints actually feel better. So being able to make that connection, I think, is just, it's a privilege, right? Yeah. Because if you're so busy, like whether it's because of, you got all these pressures on you or whatever, you're traumatized, or you're just trying to balance some really tough stuff in life. If you don't have the opportunity to sit down with someone and help or figure out how to pay attention to those things, it's so easy to just keep running through life. And so I feel like it's the ability to reflect and understand. For example, like I'm a psychologist, right? I got a PhD in psychology, and I got to tell you, it wasn't within the last 10 years that I really understood the connection between emotions and my physical body.
Yeah.
Like the fact that literally the brain processes emotion, and anything that it can't deal with in that particular moment, it sends in some way or another to some aspect of the body, and it's stored there. And if you ever get a chance to kind of work through do emotional work, it is a physical sensation that you're operating under.
Interesting, yeah.
And so having that awareness is like rare, right? And not everybody gets that.
Yeah.
So to pay attention to my breath, like whether or not I'm breathing deep enough or slow enough or what have you, and I can get through just about any experience if I'm paying attention to my breathing.
Right.
I've learned that in the last, recent time of my life.
I think that's huge what you said about the feeling part, because especially with guys, I don't think guys are in touch with their feelings at all, and they don't allow. But when you are in touch with your feelings, that is a door opener to what's going on with you.
So much.
Yeah.
For me, it's a superpower, right? Yeah. The ability to like pay attention to what I'm feeling, how I'm breathing, is like, I wish I had known it 30 years ago.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing with a lot of these things in life is we get wisdom as we get older. And man, if I had known that when I was 25 years old,
Right.
is it like that? I'll tell you why it's
can
not
be
like
Benjamin
that.
Button or
I'm
something
going to
like
go
that.
on
The other way.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. We could Benjamin Button our lives.
right.
That'd be really cool. I think it's partly because our society is set up to teach people how to do things, but not how to think and how to be. And so when you go to school, you learn math, you learn history, you learn English, you learn all those different skills, but nobody teaches you how to think about yourself. And I think there's a paradigm shift happening, though. You're starting to see a little bit more of that introspection, especially with issues of mental health. And I think it's going to be incredibly healthy for society if it keeps going and it keeps evolving and we keep doing those things.
And also, Jack, we're taught in society to run through that brick wall, and especially in sports. I mean, okay, go run through it. Oh, you didn't knock it down? Do it again, do it again, do it again.
Right.
And didn't Einstein say something along the lines of one definition of insanity is doing something over and over again and expecting a different result? So that's what, paying attention to, hey, maybe this brick wall's not going to get knocked down if I continue to pound my head into it. Maybe there's another way.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think people do that with their lives. Their life is a brick wall. They just keep pounding and pounding and pounding instead of analyzing.
And that's being unconscious.
It's being unconscious, and that's why they go on autopilot. And if you start to figure out not only how to get through that brick wall, but why you want to get through that brick wall, what it is that's around that wall that's important to you, and how to get there becomes, I think, a lot easier when you start thinking about, and you're big on this, what are your strengths? What do you love? What brings you joy? Why does it bring you joy?
Yeah.
All those things, if you think about those things, you can maybe redirect your path in life rather than just getting up in the morning, going to work, running on that treadmill until you die.
Not saying grit and resilience is not hugely important.
It's huge.
It is huge. It's massive. However, there are many different ways to do something. I don't care if you're playing a particular position in sports, and if you know your strengths, you're going to play it maybe a little differently than this guy or that woman or whatever. And so it's just being aware.
Yeah. Awareness is it's so undervalued, and it's I call it self-analytics. Right. So there's so many things about analytics, whether it's in sports or your car can tell you how efficient you're driving, pressing on the gas pedal or what have you. But we really need to develop the capacity to have self-awareness.
Yeah.
And understanding how what one action is doing to yourself or your body or your mind or your relationships, and not get too analytical to the point where you're trying to be a robot, right? Yeah. But just having self-awareness, and it's just such a.
It's the habit, though, isn't it, Alan? It's the habit.
Yeah.
We are creatures of habit.
We are.
Sure.
And that's what's comfortable, and that's what we know, and so we just keep on doing that instead of moving upward.
Yeah, and I feel even though it's a habit and it's not giving us what we need, like we're sick or we're not sleeping or we're not happy but we're just so conditioned, or we just
it's what we know.
It's all we know, right? And so and that's why I'm so fortunate to be around people, whether it's like students and student athletes and professionals and others who are pushing the envelope and trying to be disruptive. One of the things that is really great about the work that I do on the academic side, but also connecting with athletics, is this thing about sustainability, right? And so I've never really been a big tree hugging environmental type person, but we all are trying to become aware of how the world around us is impacted by the things that we do to it, right? And to me, what's beautiful is making a connection between the environmental sustainability and human sustainability, and our relationships, and whether it's, eating meat or not, or just deciding how we take care of ourselves or take care of our trash, but also our relationships. And I feel like focusing on all of those things in ways. So right now we're looking at, the university, USC has made a commitment to, sustainability, and they just hired a senior vice president to lead that effort. And They're looking at, greening the buildings. Like, for example, the Galen Center is like this zero waste facility now, and they want to use athletes and athletics to kind of showcase and communicate about this emphasis about sustainability. And I've had the opportunity to speak with the folks that are leading that effort and talking about how that has to be like paired with, or on a parallel process with, efforts to be like sustainable in terms of our human relationships, right? So for example, recruiting in athletics, like, you get a coach who's like coming up on the end of the contract and they're worried about whether or not they're going to be renewed or going to have a job, and they get desperate, right? And their recruiting actually gets worse because they're like, want to just grab anyone who they think might just be the answer to their success. And then when they get to campus, or they get on the team or whatever, and it maybe just doesn't automatically go where they want it to go right away, and they're ready to just like push them aside. And we just know that never leads to the kind of success that they want. And so it's that kind of like relationships, paying attention to how you treat yourself is one part of that, but also how you treat others, how you treat the world around you, I think is like key to kind of growing and becoming a better version of yourself, which I think is what we're all trying to do.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah.
This is the part where we're supposed to tell people to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Okay, will you please do that then? I mean,
Yeah.
if you enjoy it,
Yeah.
please do.
And if you don't, do it anyways, because we need your help.
We do.
Also, we have a website called GameChangeNation.com. Just go there and subscribe and you'll get tons of free content.
And what we're really trying to do is create a community of people that love sports.
Yep.
And the great lessons that we learn from sports, but we want to hear from you.
We do. So we're going to have a bunch of social media pages, from TikTok to Instagram to Twitter to Facebook. Instagram, I probably already said all of them. Please join them and tell us your stories. We'd love to hear from you. Oh, and we wrote a book.
Oh,
Forgot about that.
Forgot that.
The book is called Thru the Tunnel. It's available on Amazon now. If you go straight down here to this link that you can see below us, you will be able to purchase it. We'd love it if you could do it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.